Hello, this is an editorial or viewpoint from my latest Bond briefing, and it's called Nature Rolling Back Nurture. The science of evolutionary human behaviour has made a remarkable recovery from the low point of the blank slate philosophy's heyday. That was when, from the 1920s onwards, social engineers wanted to believe that human behaviour is infinitely malleable. If necessary, they faked scientific studies to fit their prejudices. Margaret Mead, American cultural anthropologist and academic, was the most notorious example. Based on her PhD thesis, her book, Coming of Age in Samoa, was required reading in universities. In it, she claimed that her research found that human nature is, to quote, the rawest, most undifferentiated of raw material. It wasn't until 40 years later that New Zealand anthropologist Derek Freeman, amid a firestorm of protest from the psychology establishment, unearthed and publicised Mead's fraud. In the meantime, intellectually honest researchers like Anglo-American psychologist Robert Plomin have battled decades to roll back the tide of psychobabble, wishful thinking and ideological zealotry. Plomin studied identical twins who had been adopted away from birth to different families. He found that, in spite of the different parenting, twins' personalities and many other features remained the same. In his latest book, Blueprint: How DNA Makes Us Who We Are, Plomin describes how our personalities and psychological traits are written in our genes and can be predicted at birth. Plomin started his work in the 1970s and, due to the hostile intellectual environment, had to work with small resources and work below the radar. He says he could not have written an early version of Blueprint 30 years ago. But 30 years ago, it was dangerously professionally to study the genetic origins of differences in people's behaviour, and to write about them in scientific journals. It is encouraging today, in my view, that Blueprint has been well received and that even the left-wing Guardian newspaper managed to do a grudgingly approving review. It is a sad observation also of human nature that men go mad in herds, to quote English thinker Charles Mackay, author of the 1841 classic Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. And he goes on to say that they recover their wits only slowly and one by one. So yes, we have a constant battle against entropy to stay vigilantly focused on the research for objective truth. Thank you for listening.